Okay. Just a couple more questions, and then we're gonna wrap this up. We touched on the industry and whatnot. Now, this was a big topic last night on my live. Can we make RC mainstream? Can we put RC alongside a motocross, supercross race? Maybe have a big race along with that. There's two questions, and I have one more question before we wrap it up. What do you think about that? Do we have the potential to go mainstream? If so, how long will it take? What does the industry have to do?
Oh man. Okay. All right. This is actually, because I was going to spring this on you, but I think this is a good segue to get to it. I could label this segment, "Why did RCGP fail?"
Go ahead.
So I'm not going to put this on anyone else. These are my ideas and my opinions, and I was not heavily involved in any of it. This is just from an outsider perspective. I think that was probably within recent time one of the strongest pushes that we had to do that, right? Like follow the copy of what does Supercross, the AMA Supercross series do, Super Motocross, whatever you want to call it. What does Formula One do? How do they create these storylines and surround it with content and media so that it looks and feels like a real thing? I think the first thing that they did that was challenging was they brought in this idea, and it was theirs. It's cool. And they were forcing everyone to do it. And they didn't really budge. They were like, do this. And when there was, well, okay, what about some compromise? Maybe there was, I don't know. But in the grand scheme of things, there was zero, in my opinion. And that's a huge problem, because we've talked about this from the beginning of, as soon as we started talking. RC is so small. It is so unbelievably small in the grand scheme of things. For somebody to find a way to create a livelihood in this industry is insanely hard. And when they do it, they're going to protect it with everything in them, because it's their livelihood. This is everything that they have going for them right now. And so anyone that comes along that's going to disrupt it and possibly ruin it or mess it up in some way, so that then they're going to worry about their family and etc., they're going to say, hell no, get out of here. Get far away from me. I don't want anything to do with you. Okay. So I think that that's the position that they put themselves in. If these guys that have had these race programs running for decades, how long has, not that they were going to compete with the Snowbirds, but just thinking about how long some of these events have been going, I think the Snowbirds is going for 30 plus years. When you have events like that, Silver State, the DNC, blah, 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 all these race time events, these guys have figured out how they make a large portion of their money for the year through these events. Now, are they going to do something to compromise those events, or possibly just not do it because of something else? No, of course not. They're going to tell you crazy. Get out of here with that nonsense. And then you look at the support coming from the industry, that these brands have allotted a budget that they're going to go to these established events, because this is where we have deemed it that our return on investment comes from. Whether that's true or not, those are the decisions that they're making, and that's why they're making it. Are they going to go, you know what? No, we're not going to send our guys to these established events that we know we're going to get coverage and exposure at. We're going to go to this thing that's totally unvetted, and we have no idea what's going on. And it's going to cost how many tens of thousands of dollars? Sign me up. Let's do it. No. So again, on all points, you've gotten this big fat no, and then they're going to sit there and say, why is nobody supporting us? It's like, okay, let's restructure this. What could we do instead? This is my idea. Okay. And somebody send me a check when it works. Okay. Those events that are established, let's all get in the room together, sit nicely at a table, civilly, and let's discuss this. We can provide a higher tier of streaming and media coverage, get those fun media press days, get the little short stories that you go and you send the camera guy to get the lovable story about Cole Ogden and some weird farm or wherever he's from, and get his life story, and do that for all the core drivers. And let's just take, I don't know, how many race time event races are there in a year? Do you know? I don't know.
4 now.
4?
So yeah.
Okay. So then take those 4, and then maybe 4 other ones or 5 more so that we have as close to like maybe 10 as possible is a good starting point that I think. Let's find those 10 undeniably. These happen every year. Everybody goes to them events.
Mm-hmm.
Brands are going to, okay. Figure out how much extra it's going to cost for an entry fee or however you're going to generate this. I think entry fee is going to be the way that you do it. Like, maybe I'm the only guy that thinks this, but like, how much is the normal entry fee for one of those race time events right now? $100, 125,
$100.
$100. Make it 150. Like, that's to
Well,
me.
they did. So the AMS that I'm going to do next week is 150, and yes, people complain.
Okay.
That's a whole topic for a whole
Grow
ramble.
up. I don't
rant.
care. If the event gets less racers, but the net profit is greater, that's a win. I'm sorry. Maybe that's an unpopular opinion, but I think that the momentum that they could build if they got 10 of those events and they relabeled it the RC America Series, whatever the heck it's called, I don't care. And then you create a story. It's a video I want to do actually, is where I go back and I pick these 10 races that I think are the ones that they would do and tally up a point standings and see who would have been your AMA RC champion of 2021. Oh, look, it's actually Cole Ogden. Yeah,
right.
Whoever. And I think that once you find this series that people can follow along with, that's when conversations with people that are looking for Netflix series and these other mainstream things, that's when it can happen. Right now, if you look at what RC is doing and all these events are going on and somebody has no idea what it is, and they're saying, oh, who's the points leader? Who's the champion of this thing? I don't know. Mayfield won last weekend, but then he didn't even make the main of the 3 prior events to that. So I don't know what that means. It's such a bizarre story that RC is telling right now. It's guys that are protecting their livelihood, the racers, where they're going out and they're chasing these contingencies, but that's it. And that's it. It's like
nothing else.
It's a traveling circus, and we're going to do something different every week, and none of it matters except the guy that wins and he gets paid.
I agree with you.
Make a series.
Do a series.
And then get everybody on board with it. Do the broadcasting to the maximum of its ability, and then watch what happens over the course of a year, 2 years, where you consistently do the media days. You get the clips for all those pro drivers. You make them look like pro drivers. You get all of those clips of the Chase Sextons and the Jet Lawrences and the Eli Tomacs. Make them. They're there, but nobody's getting that. I mean, I know that Lance is doing his thing and getting that coverage, and Matt Olson is doing his thing. And I really appreciated what they were doing at the Worlds, where they actually had images that every time they would pop up on the screen and that stuff was there. So I know people are trying, and I think that we're really close getting it to a place that could do that. But I think that at the very basic fundamental level, there's no storyline. There's zero.
There's no product.
It's a bunch of guys doing a different thing every weekend, and none of it matters.
I agree with you. I agree with you. One of the things that I would love to do next year is a virtual series. I did one with the podcast. We did a NNRC Cup back in 2021. We took.
What do you mean a virtual series? What is
that? We basically took Max and I think we took DNC, PMB, Silver State, and then the Nationals was the final race, because we kind of knew that all the top racers would be there. And I literally, we tallied points. We talked about it. Some people who follow the podcast, literally, they did follow it. I literally went and got a big giant trophy made, like sheet metal trophy made. And I went to the 2021 Nationals, and Mayfield won it. And like I had a wreath on it and all this type of stuff. And I got a picture of him with it and all that. I mean, it was just us doing it, and it didn't really get much traction. But I have the races picked out that I would do. I would start it out with the races people are going to go. They're going to go. Most people are going to go to mostly all the Dave races. That all these top guys are going to go to DNC and Silver State. So that's 6 races right there. And then you have a Nationals. Everybody's going to go to that. That's what I would do. But I want to do it next year. I really do. But I need help. I need people who think about it and who have as long as doing the podcast and doing commentating and doing this in my brain, I know what I want to say. I want to talk about that guy who finished. Oh, well, Mayfield finished. He didn't make the main last week, so he dropped this much points and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
It gives you all the storylines you have to talk about. And I agree. It gives a product. It puts some character, some personality, some charisma to these drivers instead of just guys who go out there and, yeah, just another race, because that's what they say. It's just another race, right? Just another race. But if you actually put points towards it, just like the people in the Florida RC Championship who care about the points, like, oh, yeah, but I have this much points, and I know going into next race at Callahan, I need this much points, and this person needs to finish this way, this far behind. Just like Masters of Dirt, where you have to combine all three of those people, and people actually care about points. Imagine how much interest people would have in all these races in that stream. And you know what? You're a genius. I'm a genius. We need to make it happen. That's all I have to say, because I agree with you 100%.
Yeah,
100%. And then you have a product to go to these people. I know that's what RCGP wanted to do, but I agree with you on a lot of things. I was one of the forceful people about it, but now looking back, and now looking, also having worked with other race promoters now, like with Dave, and worked with at the nationals and stuff like that. It's a way we could use both, use those races to make what we want. You know, have a proper ranking system.
That sometimes being disruptive in an industry is necessary, but there it was just it was too disruptive. There was zero cooperation from what I could see. So I think that if there was, maybe it would have been a little bit more successful. But because I saw people like Brent, I know that he was a big fan and supporter of the event, and he went to the Worlds, and he was on board, man. But I just didn't see it from the bigger people that would ultimately help it.
It definitely needed the bigger brands, for sure. It definitely did. But I agree with you, and we can do this all virtually, right? And it could be, you can have your own point system. You have your own, like I would talk about it on the podcast after every race. So this person's points went to this person, just like that's my dream. That is my dream.
Well, because I mean, everything like Supercross has the fantasy thing that Rocky Mountain TV does, and it's like there's so many fun things that you can do to build the engagement with the fan base, and then that can have spillover to people that don't know so much about it, but suddenly find it interesting, just based on that content that's being pushed out there. So I
have a proper ranking system, like that this person is number one.
Exactly.
This person is number two.
Needs to happen. It's just, hey, we've been doing it this way for so long, and it was fun, and people enjoyed it, but like we just collectively need to agree that this needs to happen if we care about this going and continuing to grow. I 100% think it's necessary,
and it has to make money. It has to be supported, because nobody works for free, and to do all of that, it takes time, and to do it properly, like promoting wise, and dedicating, and like what my dream is, like, hey, you'll be at these races. It's the such and it doesn't have to be. It's the such and such. It's the NNRC Cup, and you have it all set up there. You have your press conference afterwards with your backdrop, and you have your logo there. And this is race number 3 of the NNRC Cup. We came to PNB here at White Pine, and blah blah blah. But you go there, you set that all up, and you take, like, yes, you're doing the stream for the race, but it's for your series, like that, whatever series that is brought to you. It could be brought to you by such and such. The such and such series brought to you. Like it's a way to generate money as well, in my opinion, within the industry, and promote these companies. But that will also be exciting for somebody outside of RC to look into.
I think that one of the big challenges that a lot of tracks face is that they realize, maybe they didn't know it at first, but suddenly they find themselves in a, wow, this is just a charity. I'm not making money in this situation. So trust me, I do not have any aspirations to open up a hobby shop and a track and find a way to make that profitable. But if you are in the position where you feel it necessary that you are going to become the provider of a track and the whole race day experience, I think it's very important for them to understand that that is a product and that
Mhm.
it's not necessary for people to contribute to it. They're going to do it based on whether they had fun or they enjoyed it. So like I see a lot of tracks that will suddenly, a lot of their public facing uh, posts and whatnot become very like victimizing, like, oh, woe is me, and we're not going to make it if you guys don't help us, please, please, please. And it's like, trust me, I get the struggle, but also I went to that track and I did that race day, and it was the worst race day experience that I've had. So it's maybe the wheel of capitalism rolls on, and you're not getting the support that you need because you don't have the best products that you could. So I think that something that a lot of tracks could do is maybe take note from like the level of, how do I say this? Diversity is the wrong word. Um, ability that something like a streamer has. Maybe you need to have a conversation with some hotshot kid at a college that understands how to use OBS, a webcam, and some other form of, video capture. Because if you provide this as a better product, like what Lance is doing with his experience,
Mhm.
I think a lot of people are underutilizing their ability to leverage all these tools, these beautiful things that we have for content creation that could help this
Their
problem that
product.
you have of the product of your track and marketing your whole thing of what you got going on. So have a amazing race day experience like what Lance is doing, and then maybe learn a thing or two about how to broadcast this whole thing so that the racers can be more involved. So I know it's
Absolutely.
not going to fix every problem under the sun, but I look at a lot of tracks and I go, well, let's be honest, there's a lot of things that you could be doing that you're not.
Absolutely. I agree with you.